Hear from Eric Fong about his experience as an Advocate Capital customer. Continuing this conversation, Eric, one thing that I wanted to end with is from time to time when we're speaking with prospective law firms or lawyers who are considering using Advocate Capital for case funding, we hear things like, I don't need the money, or my clients will object if I pass through interest. What would you tell a colleague that were considering using Advocate Capital?
Well, first of all, that I'm talking to you should tell everyone that I'm really grateful for the services that you provide. Um, I don't, I'm blessed where, I don't have to borrow money from anyone. I could certainly finance the cases I want to. That wasn't always the case, right? And so I'll start with when it wasn't the case. I think there's a lot of hesitation for lawyers to invest in the cases properly because it's scary, it's risky, and if you lose it, you're not going to very rarely, and if ever, are you going to go after your client for those costs. You took a business risk and you lost, and you're not going to get that money back. But I would hope that most plaintiffs lawyers believe in the case they're doing and they're winnable. You know what I mean? Like we do have tough contested cases, but they're mega damages or you have clear liability and they're small. But if you're taking on a case to help someone, you have to be all in. You can't, go half in and not work the case up properly. And so if you're not able to do that, you have to ask Advocate Capital, for help. It's malpractice not to. And the irony of it is, I think, right, when you properly work up a case and you prepare it the way it should be, you actually will get something close to a true measure of justice, right? That our opponents are so sophisticated. They know who's prepared and who's not. They know who had the right experts in place and who doesn't. You're never going to negotiate anything close to a fair settlement unless the cost has been spent to work up the case properly. So it just has to be done. It's non-negotiable. It's malpractice not to do it, and 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 so you do it. So, but why would you? Why would I continue to work with you if I don't need to? Right? Well, one, it's a business expense because that money in my pocket could be placed in any number of investments and making me a ton of money, a lot of money. Okay, the amount of money I have in cases at any point in time is significant. And that money, I could buy real estate. I could invest it in the market. I could buy gold or silver, you name it, right? But I'm not, but if I'm putting that money in as a business expense and not getting in return of it, I'm a terrible like business person. It's negligence. And I've yet to have a client not understand that the way I explained it to him, like I'm going to charge you what the bank charges me. Because if I had that money in my pocket, I could go out and what's the market return over the past forever years? It's ginormous, right? If you invest in the stock market, you just leave it there, despite the ups and downs, it accrues at a tremendous amount. The amount of money it costs that to borrow the money is far less than what you could be making if you invest that money. So it's a business cost. It's not fair to me to not pass that cost on to my clients. And I've yet to have a client say, no, I'm not going to let you do that. And if they did say that, I'd say, well, you're selfish. You don't understand what it's like to be me.
Right? You want to practice law, right? You want to be a lawyer, not the banker. And Eric, sometimes when I think about it, it is the hardest job in the world being a plaintiff lawyer. And so what does that sound like? You're going to take all your after-tax cash and you're going to give every one of your clients an interest-free loan for the duration of your case.
That's
It's
right. I mean, that's
crazy.
exactly right. Don't do it. And by the way, I fully connect with the lawyer who would say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that to your client." I mean, I understand that because we don't. Money is a very hard thing to talk about. Okay, it's why a lot of plaintiffs lawyers aren't succeeding is they're uncomfortable with the concept of money for justice. Like there's plaintiff lawyers who don't get that. or they get it, but it's very hard to do it and to ask a jury for money. Those are probably the same lawyers, or many of them, that are saying, well, I can't ask my clients to bear that cost. Well, you don't understand money and you don't understand the sacrifices we're making. And it's not fair to your family. It's not fair to you.
Right.
There's a part of a lawyer that has to be selfish and a killer. Like you have to have that part of you, no matter how altruistic and good we are. We also have to have the savvy and the wherewithal to make hard choices, tough choices. And so I don't know. I hope that made sense.
Absolutely. Well, you've been a client of Advocate for a number of years, and I just want to personally thank you and thank you for your advocacy and everything you do. Because Eric, at the end of the day, without trial lawyers, we would all be suffering and struggling, and the Seventh Amendment would die on the vine. So, thank you for everything you do.
You're welcome, and I love our profession, my profession. I'm so proud of what I do, and I think the lack of understanding of what a trial lawyer does. We've earned a bad reputation, like it's out there and there's reasons for it. But at the end of the day, despite all the bad things, like the lawyers that are doing it for the wrong reasons or don't know how to do it and, are carrying that burden, by the way, it's like not good to lose a case that you should have won. It's horrible. At the end of the day, if it wasn't for the law and the trial lawyers that are going out to affect it in a positive direction, where would we be? You don't want to think about that.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to wrap up. If there is a lawyer considering case funding and they wanted to talk to you about your experience with Advocate, what would be a good way for them to do that?
Call me 360-621-9557.
Eric, thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.